How's it going, guys? Doe here. Hope we're doing good, and today it's all about interrupting with the sword after the rework because it has gotten a little bit more difficult in some aspects and a lot more easier in others. So I'll be covering all the ways you interrupt because there are actually a ton of different ways to interrupt now. To get things rolling, I'm going to go ahead and organize stuff into three different categories. The first being core combos and basic attacks, things that require no valor or specials to actually interrupt, things you can access whenever you want to. And as a side note, if you want to know how I prefer to interrupt certain behemoths, I will probably save that towards the end of the video. So if you want to see that, watch till the end. And also, if you don't do that, make sure you like the video. I appreciate that. Moving forward, the second category will be Valor Combos, things that take Valor to actually use to interrupt. This is stuff you have to build during a fight. It's not always accessible, but still very useful. And lastly, we have Specials, things you have to have special meter to actually use to interrupt. Starting off with the basic combos and attacks, we'll have the Standing Still Heavy Attack. And by the way, you cannot interrupt with a basic light attack or a light attack combo if that's what you're wondering. It's not possible. Don't try it, okay? Now next up, we have the Jump Heavy Attack, which is pretty much a Standing Still Heavy version, except you can actually pivot your character and glide in the air and you're not standing in place. This can get pretty flashy, and this can be again used from either direction, left or right. So you can select thy own Kool-Aid. And next up, we have the Roll Heavy Attack, and this is where you roll forward and you slice your sword in a vertical motion. It goes pretty high in the air, pretty solid if a behemoth is jumping at you, and it's pretty slow. So it's not exactly ideal if a behemoth is like rolling up to your neighborhood, knocking on your front door. Don't suggest using it. But if you have time and you can predict an attack, it's a pretty solid option. Then we have a heavy combo. It's going to be all heavies. This is a combo I forgot the name of, but just understand it's a core combo. It costs no valor to use, and it does have uses in the sense of if you're already doing the combo in the first place and you're going to probably get an interrupt, go ahead and send it. If you're wearing Predator, I might suggest not doing it, but if you're not, then just go ahead and send it, bud. Moving on to the Valor combos, we're going to go ahead and start off with Resounding Echo, which can interrupt if you're using the Charge Sword Focus modifier. This whole interaction is the opposite of a banger, okay? Like, this thing needs to go right back to the battle bus, slap it on there, crash that thing into a lake, and just be done with it. But anywho, the way it works, you plant a bomb in the ground, it explodes, and it has the chance to interrupt if you line everything up perfectly. It takes 6 seconds to predict an interrupt, because that's how long it takes for it to explode. Good luck, Chuck. Moving on. There's the Crescent Strike Valor combo, which is going to be light, heavy, and only the heavy portion of this attack can interrupt. So you have to do the whole combo and land the uppercut swing thing. And that takes a bit of time, so make sure you have enough time to line it up, otherwise you're going to get hit and be upset. And the last Valor combo we have is going to be Blade Surge, also known as Getsuga Dinsha. Yo, I think I kind of killed that. I'm pretty proud of that, I'm not going to lie. In American, that's pronounced Getsuga Dinsha, and this is a very long-range attack. It can go to freaking Narnia. You toss that salmon biscuit, and it just goes hauling buns across, I don't even know how much distance. It just goes really freaking far. It's a very long-range interrupt. It can be used kind of up close, but it takes a little bit of time to cast, so make sure you have the distance to actually use it. It doesn't have very much verticality unless you jump, so that can be used to interrupt certain things that you otherwise couldn't. Keep that in mind. Now, moving on to the last section of the interrupts, we're going to have the specials. There's going to be two choices here. The first one I'll cover is going to be Ardent Cyclone. For this special, we spin around as a unstaggable Beyblade. The spinning portion of this does not interrupt at all, but what can is going to be the slash at the end, which is called Cyclonic Strike. You basically do a giant overhead slash in the direction you're facing. This can interrupt behemoths. And it also makes you unstaggable because it carries the same characteristics as the spinning portion of Ardent Cyclone. From what I tested, this could change, but I was taking damage and never got knocked back, even if I casted it pretty dang late. Now, the last special you can use to interrupt at the moment, unless they add more, is going to be Avenging Overdrive. And the way this works is you activate Avenging Overdrive, which actually activates Vengeance. And Vengeance can interrupt behemoths that are charging towards you or doing any kind of unstable attack which actually moves, because some attacks do not move at all. And those attacks are called damage thresholds. The way they work is you interrupt them by doing enough damage. So the only attack in this video that can't do that is going to be Avenging Overdrive, since that's a parry attack, which requires a behemoth to actually hit you. So if that happens, then great, you can interrupt it. If it doesn't, then there's no shot you become Parry the Platypus and pop off on these perpetrators. It's just not going to happen. Like, there's no chance it's going to even occur. So only use this if you're going to interrupt an attack that's coming towards you. If not, refer to any of the other attacks. And since I covered all the attacks I'm aware of that can interrupt, I'm going to go ahead and give my preferences for how you boop Behemoths and Dauntless. So, if you're trying to boop a damage threshold attack, then what I suggest doing is using either all heavies, so the all heavy combo, rolling heavies. If you're fighting, let's say, like Cool Shot that is constantly shooting cools at you during this attack, you want to be able to dodge them. So to do that, you need to roll. So roll heavies are pretty solid in that fight as well. And now, as far as every other behemoth is concerned, the thing I suggest you use to interrupt the freaking most is going to be doing a jump heavy attack. You want to learn this the best of your ability because it is the easiest, well, easiest being relative here, but is the easiest and quickest way to interrupt without needing any other tools in your kit. You don't need Valor, you don't need Special Meter, none of that stuff. And the way you learn this attack is by practicing on Ember Monye, go into that hunt and just jump and make sure the arc of your sword is what you're hitting the behemoth with. So I like looking to the right and jumping in that direction. You can go left or right. It does not matter. You can even look backwards. That works too. But that is what I do. That's what I suggest to do if you want to learn how to interrupt with a sword. Now, outside of that, use whatever tool you think is necessary because it changes. There's no like set in stone way to interrupt, but it is important you understand how to interrupt with a jump heavy since that is a always accessible tool and a very consistent one you can use in a fight. It's pretty hard on some bosses, I'm not gonna lie, but it's worth learning on ones like Embermane, Pangar. Any behemoth that starts off the fight with an interrupt are the ones you want to practice on because otherwise you're not gonna have a really easy time killing it since interrupts are immense ways to get a lot more damage in. But that is pretty much the end of the video, guys. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, make sure to drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more content on games in general because that's what we're covering here soon. Got a lot of plans in the works. And if you guys want to, use my Epic Games supporter code in the Epic Games store or in the in-game Gauntlet store or wherever you can use it. Walmart, HEB, I don't care. Wherever they allow you to use that code. If you don't use my code, use someone's code because it helps out whoever you're helping out a freaking lot. And other than that, y'all, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Yo, I kind of hit those frost shots though. Gee, willikers, brother.